round of applause to Ronnie.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? All right. Good, everyone? Cool. All right. I'm going to start off this morning by asking you guys, by a show of hands, how many of you have younger siblings? Show of hands. Most of you. Okay, that's going to be good for me. All right. This is kind of extreme to ask, but try to imagine watching them being taken from your home, watching them being kidnapped, and then knowing you can't do anything about it. And think about that. Think about the feeling that would go through your stomach and the feeling that would go through your body, knowing that they're completely helpless and so are you. Think about them 3 months later, 3 or 4 months later, holding a killing weapon, holding a terrible thing, like an AK-47 or a machete, and looking into the eyes and seeing that they're just terrible humans and knowing that they can never be the same because of the horrible things that they've seen. This doesn't happen anymore though, right? This is just like back in the 70s and 80s and like World War stuff. No, that's wrong. This is happening today, every single day in Eastern Africa. General Colin Powell, former Secretary of State, is quoted saying, "There is no greater tragedy on earth today as the one that is unfolding in the Sudan." Today I will first inform you of the atrocious crimes committed towards the children of Eastern Africa. Secondly, I will explain how these crimes affect the rest of the public. And finally, I will explain how many people are unaware of it due to the lack of media coverage on this issue. First, let me give you some background information on the group that is in charge of kidnapping people. They're called the LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army. This group of rebels is led by a man named Joseph Kony. About 20 years ago, he tried to overthrow the government, and when he failed, he lost almost all of his support, about 90% of his soldiers. So, in order for him to stay in power, he decided to start kidnapping children, since children are vulnerable and easy to mold. So, he started brainwashing these children by making them kill and decapitate other humans and other animals and stuff like that. He turned the young boys, ages, I think it was 9 to 14, turned the boys into soldiers because they're small enough to sneak into places, but still strong enough to hold a weapon, and the girls are turned into sex slaves, pretty much. These children are considered invisible because once they're kidnapped by the LRA, no records are kept of them, so their family doesn't know if they're alive or dead. So that's pretty much why they're considered invisible. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children had records showing that under 2,000 children in the United States in the last 20 years haven't been returned to their homes. So think about that number when I tell you this. In Africa World Today Encyclopedia, over 31,000 children in Eastern Africa, in Uganda alone, from 1981 to 2001 have been kidnapped and not returned to their families. So in detail, the children are kidnapped from the bush in large groups. They're ambushed, their tribes are ambushed by the LRA, and the soldiers force them to kill, or else they'll kill one of their family members. Jacob, a boy who escaped from the LRA's clutches, is quoted in a documentary, Invisible Children, Rough Cut, saying, "My brother tried to escape. They killed my brother using panga. Panga means machetes. They cut his neck. I saw. I tried to cry, but they say that when I cry, they're going to kill me." End quote. These children are threatened with their family members' lives so that they will cooperate, so they have no choice but to kill people for this army. So now that you've learned a little bit about the crimes committed towards the children in Eastern Africa, I'm going to explain to you how the army affects the rest of the population in a negative way. In 1996, President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, decided the best way to protect his people would be to put them all in displacement camps. So he made a couple big camps, and he didn't really think everything through. He decided that putting in Refugees International, there's information quoting that 1.8 million people have been displaced. These camps are very much like concentration camps. Since there's 1.8 million people in like a couple square miles, that's just not good. Hygiene is terrible. There's complete famine because there's little to no help from other huge countries in the world. There's people dying of AIDS every day. People actually use garbage bags, like old used garbage bags, as condoms. So that's just not healthy in itself. And these things don't even really work. The camps, inside there's little to no security. There's no police force. The only thing, there's a big fence around the outside. And that's pretty much it for the the camps. So now that I've told you a little bit about the camps and how the rebel army affected the population negatively, I'm going to tell you about how the media is pretty much not covering this issue at all. Senator Inhofe of Oklahoma is quoted in the documentary Invisible Children saying, "I can name about 20 or 30 causes that people are rallying around, and this isn't one of them." If you look here on the slide, most of these are actual news headlines from major news stations, CNN, CBS, New York Times, other times. People are dying. About 1,000 people every single day in these camps are dying. And I don't know if any of you knew this, but about a week ago there was a riot in Uganda. About 25 people died. And the media decided to cover skunk sandwiches in New York City, yummy allergen-free snacks. So this isn't going to help the country at all. Danette Brickman, a doctor at John Jay University in New York City, is quoted saying, "In certain contexts, the media coverage does act as an intervening variable in public opinion and action. Issues like this, the one in Uganda, could be completely resolved if the media simply covered events like this. They could get aid, they could get help from other nations, and it can be completely over." In conclusion, the kidnapping of the children of Uganda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Sudan. I hope I informed you about those issues. I hope I explained the effects of the kidnapping and the crimes towards the children. I hope I also showed you how little media coverage on this issue and how it negatively affected the area. So thank you very much for your time and have a great morning.